before I do the summing up, I invite anybody to ask a question. Kindly name the person whom you want to ask the question, and feel free to state your question clearly. My submission. Question should not be longer than the answer. You understand what I mean? Monday should not be longer than Sunday. And also refrain from giving a statement. Question should be to elicit information or clarify any doubt that you are having. Open to the house. Please feel free.
In the government, we have factories which have 200 people, 500, 5,000, depending upon each unit. So, each company cannot afford to have a team.
Very good.
उसमें आप क्या
Sir, yes, I would agree with you that we may not have a formal CEO, a very formal HR department. Anybody who's handling that role in that organization, maybe even a single person. But then frankly, let's go deeper more into that question. Am I really value adding to my organization? As Mr. Verghese really said, am I enabling or am I just an existing support person in my organization?
जैसे ओनर है वो खुद ही एक कंपैशन हो तो वो खुद ही देखते हैं अपने लोगों के लिए बिल्कुल तो that itself our culture is such as an Indian culture as our upbringing that we see to it that our people खुद के खाने से पहले कहते हैं कि लोगों को खाना मिले so those are the practices.
Wonderful, sir.
Thank you,
exactly.
sir. Well answered. Anybody else has a question? Before we go any further, I am getting encouraged to sort of respond to what has gone on over here. It's a session on HR and it's an HR community and I am part of that. It's understandable that we are doing our back patting. There's a thing called general systems theory. Some of you are familiar with this. It was actually propounded by a biologist. He said human body has many subsystems. You have respiratory system, you have digestive system, you have reproductive system. Each system is doing a damn good job by itself. But you take out that system, it can't function alone. There is a concept of dependence, independence and interdependence of all these systems. You can't say reproductive system is better than digestive system. You can keep producing people, but if your digestion is not all right, it is separated, nothing will happen. Similarly, an organization is a big system. There is no department better than anyone else. This myth must be blasted once and for all that we in HR are superior to anyone else. For heaven's sake, don't take this message. I want to say HR is one subsystem. Procurement is another subsystem. Finance is damn good, very, very important. So all systems are equally important. There is interdependence, there is dependence, and there is independence. In fact, one school of thought was banish all HR department, outsource all HR activities, that is recruiting, etc., etc., and HRD should be part of every line manager. That's what army does anyway. Every army commander, it is his damn job to take care of his people. He is worth his salt only if he goes and plays basketball with his men. He knows their name and he also knows his family comes from where and when somebody's wife is pregnant and so on. And that is why men are ready to give their life for that commander. It is not left to the HR department. It is the job of the line manager to be really developing them. They say, what you do? All that wonderful presentation my friend made, he said, outsource it. A chap like me will be willing to outsource it and do it for you all. Message that I am giving is, HR has a profound role to perform. Just stick to knitting. Let's not think about becoming a CEO or whatever it is. Whoever deserves will get the chair. And here, we should also be encouraging line managers to be also taking part in development and welfare of the people. My personal views. Now, having said so, now it is my privilege, if there are no more questions, to kind of give my concluding remark. Everyone has said that HR is very important. Men, whether ahead of the gun or behind the gun, are important. He disagreed with me. He said it is not the man, but his brain is important. I'll start from that. One question which is bugging everyone, you get the best talent, yet they are not performing. a term coined by academicians, engaged employees. Gallup organization started in the year 2000. They did a worldwide survey to find out how many persons are actually engaged. And what do you mean by engaged? When you are emotionally committed with the organization, its people and its staff. That's the definition of engagement. And everyone will like his employees to be engaged. In the year 2000, only about 29% people were fully engaged. That was worldwide. In India, perhaps it could be 19% only, my guess. Purely in money terms, you see, you're paying full salary to 29% or 100%, and only 19 or 20% people are giving full work. The rest 70% plus are getting salary but are not contributing. So purely in money terms, it is essential that we make an endeavor to have those non-engaged people into engaged employees. Now, what motivates a chap to do? I am saying forget all theories. Let's see what is doable. When you go back to your place of work, what can you do? Man or a woman, when he comes to work, she has head and he also has heart. He has his own. Everyone has been talking about emotional intelligence or EQ. A lot of people did. I hope we understand that also. Because that means his heart is more powerful than his head. Do you agree or not? It is not the brain that will tell him that to work or not. He knows jolly well that he should be working to get his salary. It is his heart will tell him to work or not. As Gurdas Man will make us believe, ye dil ka mamla hai. We have to touch his heart, not his brain. He bloody well has better brain than us. How do we touch his heart? Simple again. We are trained from our school days to catch people doing something wrong. Then we give him a rocket. Even in the factory we go around and say, ye kar rahe hain, so rahe hain. We are used to catching them wrong. Correct me if I am wrong.
Yes.
Kindly change the paradigm. The word paradigm was used. I will not define it. Now write down. Catch someone doing something right. Yes, you have to catch because we are trained not to catch people doing something right. And when you catch someone doing something right, don't hesitate to say, well done, shabash. It is a game changer. You can try it at home, try it at workplace in a small way. It has a multiplier effect. Simple. Forget all the theories. And second and most important thing, which is very hard, listen. We only like to listen to our own voice. Listen to the guy in front of you. Historically, when a child is born, mom and pop are wondering, when will he start speaking mama and papa? When he starts speaking, you wonder, when will he shut up? Goes to school, he is taught how to write, he is taught how to read, he learns till 14 years of age how to read and write. He is never taught how to listen. But you taught how to listen? No. But that is one thing you got to do for the rest of your life. These days even love letters are not written. Nobody writes. You are texting. So if you have not been taught how to listen, the only way to motivate, or one of the ways to touch his heart, is by given opportunity to speak. It is not accident that listen and silent have the same alphabet. So keep your mouth shut when you listen to the other guy. Listening and hearing has a different connotation. Hearing is only sound waves when they are striking your eardrums and making some noise in your brain. Listening is with a purpose. That's why they call aggressive listening. That is when you even ask a question, this is what you meant? So you want to be clear. And the next superior or an upgradation of listening is empathetic listening. That means you are listening to even understand what is the feeling behind in the other person's mind. That is when listening is complete. You don't have to go to do any MBA session for this. You do it and you see the difference. Now, this session I am only chairing, so I have a limited time to speak. The rule applies to me as well. We have heard some wonderful things over here. So what? What will you do when you get back to your place of work? What will you do when you get back to your place of work? In Indian ethos, there are 4 steps of learning. First is Shravan, that is listening. Hopefully you have listened and not heard. First is Shravan, second is Chintan. When you go back to your place, think, what is it that these three great gentlemen and one wonderful lady shared with us? Third step is Manan. You reflect. How is it applicable to me? What is applicable to him may not be applicable to him. Then reflection will give you what is it that I have to do. And finally, Karan, actually act. Karam Yoga is not to be flouted around just as a philosophy. Unless I have a law of learning, what I call, unless you learn to act on what you have learned, you haven't learned anything at all. For that you got to resign your membership of NATO. And what's NATO, sir? What's NATO? What's NATO? Anybody here?
Non-aligned treaty organization.
Thank you, sir, but you are not a member of North Atlantic Treaty Organization. My guess is you are a member of an organization called No Action Talk Only. This is a forum for talking. We've done a lot of talking. Its real test is when you get back to your place of work, you take the proverbial first step to the journey of growth and development. Thank you so much. May God bless you.